I'm gonna start recording something, and he's like, I am going to start cooking steaks on the grill and coming in and out of this door constantly. And I'm like, all right, real life. Here we are.
Really?
Here we are in the real world.
Yeah.
Okay. Tee up what you just said a minute ago about AI and
Mm,
how you're using Claude.
yeah. So thought partnership is really where I started working last quarter. I had that rock, where I was discovering what I was going to use AI for and then just go for it, use it for something. And I read that thought driven, what was it? The AI driven leader.
Yes. Yeah.
And it
Michael
made me
sent
think,
those, right?
yeah, yeah. So it made me think about it as like a thought partner. And instead of just like, oh, it's my little assistant that does stuff for me. So using it as a thought partner, I thought about, okay, what are the things that I feel really stuck on that I need a thought partner that I can just queue up whenever I'm ready? And for me, it was marketing. Like, how do I market myself?
Mm.
How do I craft my message for socials? Things that I feel a little bit stunted on or I feel blocked on, and just using it to think about it, to talk about it. And it also, it gives you a little confidence boost. That's kind of how it's like programmed, is to get you coming back for more. But
Right.
I needed that. I needed a thought partner and one that could help me think through it, but also something that would give me that little confidence boost of, yeah, you can do this. And here's how.
And like on demand too, right? Like in that moment when you're like, I'm feeling creative or I want to think about this right now, you're not
Exactly.
like, oh shoot, who can I talk? I think that's a different strategy that you could deploy, right? Is like now I'm going to schedule a meeting with somebody and we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it. But when you're at that like initial thought phase, it's kind of nice to
Hmm.
have that quick on the spot, like help me just like think through this really quickly on how I'm seeing it to help you get to the clarity and next steps faster than it just staying in your brain, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like on a Tuesday at 8 a.m., I want to work on this. And I don't have anybody to think of to bug and bring online, or especially at 8 a.m.
Right? You're like, who can I call that is in Pacific time zone that is 3 hours behind me? Like, it's so hard. I get voice notes from a certain couple of visionaries, quite religiously at like 5 a.m. my time, because that's when it's like they're 8 or whatever, and I'm getting them, and my phone's pinging, and my husband's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, I'm getting voice notes from from visionaries.
The sun is up on the East Coast.
I love it. I'm like, they're just calling from the future. That's what's happening. I'm getting a phone call from the future.
Oh, I love that.
Um, so anyways, okay, so what was the most recent thing you were saying that there was like a blog or something that you were working on that you started talking to Claude about?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, how am I going to message this? And I had some bullet points, but then I fed it in and Claude gave me a version. And then I went back and forth, like going through the editing process with Claude and then taking the finished product and then editing it further on my own. So it was really fun to do it that way. Again, taking that thought partnership to the next level. And now it's like a writing partnership.
And you like, I feel like I've not dabbled in Claude at all. I'm like a chat GPT from the start, like ride or die, like just stick with it. It's learning me and everything. Like, do you feel one way or the other about Claude interaction versus chat GPT?
I mean, I like it. It is a little different. For me, that initial rock where I was diving in and really figuring out what I was going to use AI for, I part of that rock was deciding which tool I wanted to focus on, because from what I was understanding, I really wanted to focus on one tool and get good at that one tool rather than just flip from tool to tool.
Yeah.
And I saw that Claude had a lot of features that I was interested in, including being integrated with Google Workspace, which we use, and just the way that it had a closed interface and things like that. So I decided to go in on that and then use a paid subscription.
Interesting. So with it, with the integration with Google, does that allow you to query from like your files on Google Drive?
Yeah, yeah, I can use those Google Drive files in it.
Okay, sold. Maybe I'm no longer team GPT. I'm like, all right, chat GPT who?
Yeah, but we've been talking about agents, and I don't think you can do that with Claude. So like, there's
Mhm.
pros and cons to every single one.
I met with one of my mastermind groups the other day, and one of the owners was talking about her use of ChatGPT agent to
Mm,
go in from, like, she went to an event or she went to a conference or she spoke at something or whatever, right? And she walked away with this giant list of names. And normally, again, we go in a little manual, right? And we're like, add friend or add connect or whatever it is. And she gave it to agent and had agent go into her LinkedIn and do the adding and do the commenting and do the like message and everything.
ooh,
So I've been, it's one of those things where you have to like kind of always be operationally minded of like, oh, I'm doing this task. Could I do it easier? Could I do it smoother? Could I do it differently? Could I ask chat? And I don't
right,
think everybody has that same way that they think about like optimizing and making things efficient in their life. I think I do that naturally, and it probably drives Jacob crazy because if I'm like, even if I'm going to walk from one end of the house to the other, I'm like, what are all the things I need to carry so I don't have to go back 4 times? I'm going to carry it all or get a basket and bring the things and go once. Like
right.
I am efficient in all that I do, but I recognize like, and he's not. He'll go to hang up a picture and he's up on the ladder and he's like, "Oh, I don't have the nails. I got to get down. I got to go." And I'm already like, "Oh my gosh, how did you not bring the nails with you?" But again, everyone's mind doesn't work that way.
Right.
Do you feel like because your natural style or as an integrator, you're thinking more that way of efficiency naturally or
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I worked through that as a project manager years ago. Like I didn't have the time to be wasteful, right? When you're in that position, you just can't afford that. And so it's really thinking anytime I sit down to do a task, I think of like, how's my energy right now? Am I in the right headspace to do this well? Because really, if I'm already tired or feeling like not into it, like I'm not going to do it well. And then even if I do it well, it's like it takes me 3 times as long.
yes. Yes. The energy that you're putting into it is so important. We had Nicole led her monthly team health workshop uh, this week. And the topic was again like optimizing and managing your own energy for the things that you're
Yes.
doing. And I think what you're saying is so important. And I think when you realize that like earlier or younger as a manager in your career, it's super beneficial as an aha. There can be some resistance to it, I feel like, up front in that because it's like I just got to get things done. I can't say no, I'll do this tomorrow. It can't wait. And
Yeah.
one of the attendees on the call, she had this really brilliant comment where she said, you know, are you just deeming and creating everything as urgent because you want it off your plate or you want it out of your inbox or you want it like, is it truly an urgent thing? And do you have the right energy to work on it at that moment, right? Are you in the right place physically, mentally, energy, like all these things to consider where you can be more selective or advocate for yourself and speak to that as a need or recognize
Yeah.
that in other leaders, right? I think a lot of times people don't recognize that in themselves. It's like, oh, wow, that thing took me 4 hours when it really should have only taken me one, you know?
Yeah. No, it's easier when you're recognizing it in another leader because you have that distance, right? You're not caught up in the story of it. And for me, it's all about my hyperachiever saboteur, right? I want to get all the things done. I need all the to-dos checked off. And then I have earned the right to rest. Then I have earned the right to have joy in my life,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it's not just the energy, but it's also like the mindset I'm in.
So, how do you work through that, right? Like you just gave the language around positive intelligence and your saboteurs and knowing your triggers or your hijacking, right? And then like what that leads to. Like you've been practicing this now for what, a little over a year and a
Yeah,
half?
like a year and a half. Hmm.
So how have you seen that change how you're scheduling yourself or how you're
Mm.
putting something down when you're like, okay, I shouldn't be doing this right now. I need to put a pin and do it tomorrow morning or whatever. How are you interacting with that mindset now?
Yeah, it's just whenever something feels hard, right? When I feel like I'm really pushing myself and there's any sort of resistance, I'm using that as a cue of, okay, wait a minute, why does this feel hard? And I just give myself a beat. And sometimes it feels hard because of the way I'm thinking about the problem. And sometimes it feels hard because I'm just not in the right place and I need to go take care of myself. So it's just having a cue where you're tuning into yourself and then making a conscious choice. I think sometimes we just are continually doing something without making a conscious choice. And we
Yeah.
forget that we have the ability to make a choice.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. You're making a choice. Again, rather than letting things just run you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than letting the tail wag the dog or like whatever, analogy you would give around that. Of, I think we can be, I don't like using the word slave, but like we would be like a slave. You're a slave then to your inbox or your calendar
Mm-hmm.
or what's coming at you. Like you are being reactive to your inputs rather than deciding and having your own agency. I like that. I think that's really powerful. Interesting.
And we have to connect it back to our purpose, right? What's our why? And sometimes our saboteurs are taking us off in this different direction that doesn't even align with our purpose and with what we find important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But going back to what you said a minute ago, like you're tapping in enough to your either a cue in your mind or a feeling in your body that's telling you something feels hard, is how you put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's your cue to like stop. Like, I need stop,
Yep.
maybe body movement, get up, walk around, different environment. Like, I feel like it's that neural pathway wiring or whatever they call it of then going outside or going and folding the laundry or walking and getting coffee in the office or something like that to like just break it up to come back. Um,
Yeah, just taking a break, right, makes such a difference.
mhm.
And figuring out what type of break do I need? Do I just need a bathroom break? Do I need to go take a walk? Do I need to go take a nap? Like you have to take the minute to cue into yourself to figure out what it is you need and then giving yourself whatever that break is.
Yeah. So I guess even circling some of that back full circle to ChatGPT or Claude, right? Like I think we encounter this and we talk to leaders all the time that are like, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. With more time, I would do this, right? I think by our
Mm-hmm.
nature, we always fill. Like even if you have open time, you fill it with something.
Uh-huh.
And this concept I was seeing this week that was kind of like around rather than I think it might have been at Nicole's session also, rather than like I don't have enough time, it's like I didn't make the time. And what I think is incredible and such a benefit of this use of LLMs is if you can speed up your processes or your thought, like you said, okay, rather than you sitting and maybe spinning out for a couple of hours trying to figure it out,
Mm,
you spent 15 minutes. You just got an hour back of your life.
right.
So then what do you want to choose with that? Is that the time now that you make the time to go spend more time with your kids or you get that time back in efficiency to do another project or like now you have more space to work on the things that only you can? And I've been met with a little bit of resistance from some of my clients. It's so funny how like the spectrum of people are either all in and like probably overusing GPT, you know? And then some that are like hands down, no, not even thinking about it, not going to use it, don't trust it, would rather
Right.
spend 24 hours analyzing data than maybe have it help me get 70% of the way there because it's not 100.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
What are you experiencing with that?
Well, for me, it's expanding my capabilities and my capacity in a way that's helping me do things that I was putting off, like avoider situation. And so I actually, whether or not I'm actually saving time, I don't know, but the energy I'm getting from it is different because I'm feeling, oh, I've got a capability now that I didn't feel like I had before because I've been working on leveling up myself through it.
I love how you just said that you're using it more to do things that you've been procrastinating or that
Mhm.
you've been avoiding.
Mhm.
That's really interesting. I I don't I don't interact with it the same way.
What do
Interesting.
you use it for? Like, where do you feel like you get the
I it's like the mental load, right? It's the energy. It's the mental
mm,
load of like, okay, I could, just because I could doesn't mean I should. I could sit and analyze. Like for example, the example I'll give is um I took handful of assessments. I took like 5 or 6 different, it was like a Myers-Briggs, a predictive index, a Colby, whatever. I took a handful of assessments for a team member and put them into like ChatGPT. I explored the other day has like templates. I'm new to this apparently. So I went
nice?
in and I found like a candidate profile template. And
Mm,
what it does is it analyzes and gives a score based on job match and perform like predicted performance. So long story to explain to you like how I think of it. I'm like, could I have sat and analyzed those and looked at it for hours and like really done research and figured it out? 100%. Yes. But I popped it into there and was like, tell me what you think. And then I analyzed the and really dove into its analysis, like its Cliff Notes version of everything.
right.
So then I could agree with that, disagree with that, question it on that, be like, yeah, but what about that? Like, and then I could pick apart and see if I aligned with what it was giving me or not to see if it's now
Hmm.
a go forward tool. Because honestly, I can analyze that all day long. But if I want to get to a self managing company as an entrepreneur, I need whoever else on my team that might be doing recruiting and hiring to be able to spit out the exact same type of thing that I would analyze from that. And if that gets us there to where, sure, I can analyze it and know that, but like this report just showed me that how I think of it is what it's coming out with. I can be like, hey, team member, use this because this is close to how I think about it and get yourself 70% of the way there. Now I'm not having to be involved at all. And I'm trusting that like this team member can vet candidates closer to how I would with a
Hmm.
part of the process, not the whole process. We're not counting on only that, but does that make sense? Like that's how I
Yeah.
would see it is like, how do I get this logic out of my brain to have someone else be able to interact with it? So that way I'm not doing it anymore and they have confidence in what their results are. And now I get my time back again to build the business, network, sit on my patio with my dogs, like whatever I'm choosing to do at that time that I just got back from the like hundreds of hours I would spend scrubbing candidates.
Right. Yeah, and it's hard because especially when we're talking about recruitment and giving that off to someone else, there's so much I think that we think of as instinctual with choosing candidates and getting that right match. But really, there is data. Like that instinct is based on lots of data. It's just we have so much of it, it's hard to even like break it all down.
Yeah.
And so if we're using a tool that helps us communicate that instinct in a way that other people can understand, then we are able to scale up. We're able to systemize something that we're doing instinctually.
Yes. 100%.
And it's really having going back to that idea of a thought partner. Like you need a thought partner when looking through candidates sometimes because you can really get excited about a candidate that's not a good match. Or you
Right.
can write somebody off that you don't think is going to be a good fit. But there's so many different ways to look at this fit to make sure it's good. And there's so much that we're not even thinking about that we should be. So I think it's a really good tool for that.
And on paper, right? I mean, again, if we dig into hiring, like you've got it's multifaceted, like you just said. It's like, let's align the skills and the qualifications and the things that they say. Let's align the like, well, how am I feeling and interacting with that? And is that personal core values match, right? Like there's personal things that have to happen on interviews. So it's one part of the process that like speeds it up or makes it more efficient or helps it give you a lens in which to look through. So
Mm-hmm.
the second part of that, I would say, is on the other side, like the way that I was looking at that, like assessment or that tool, right? I like took the assessments, I matched it with their person's job description. What else did I put in there? I did assessments, job description. I had kind of like a write-up of the person's more like their tasks. Like they had given me like, here's
Mm.
the stuff I do, different than the job description. Here's the activities I do. And I put that in there with it to ask how successful this person will be at doing this job and will they like it?
Mhm.
Now, what I'll say is the interesting part of it is this was kind of after I had already, I was second guessing myself and feeling like I was going crazy a little bit that like this candidate wasn't doing the things. They weren't ticking the boxes, they weren't getting things done, they weren't aligning with my expectations. And I feel like my leadership style is I reflect on myself first. I'm like, what did I not do? What did I not train? What, am I not, what am I not doing for this person? And I can spiral out and spin out on that a little too far sometimes, but
Mhm.
try to take accountability. And so I'm like, after the fact, looking at that analysis that chat gave me was so validating that I was like, oh my gosh, everything I've been seeing and feeling actually is the reality and
Mm.
is what this candidate is, or this person, this team member is experiencing. I don't want that for anyone. I don't want someone to feel not capable of their job or not a fit or not, and if they're constantly stretching themselves into a form that is not natural to them, right? Then that's when we see the core values start to slide, the behavior, the attitude, the like those things naturally kind of go by the wayside because you're expending all your energy to
Mhm.
pivot. Like predictive index does a beautiful job of showing how you're stretching yourself into different things
Agreed. Yeah.
if it's out of your unique ability or your natural talents. And so, anyways, that was the big aha for me. It was validating to be like, oh my gosh, everything we've both probably been feeling, this helped shine a light on it and then give me language to have the coaching on. I could ask it, so how do I talk to this person about this? Do you recommend them for the job? Is there another job at our company that they would be great for? And then like have the conversation because I don't have a full-time HR person on the team that I can have that call with yet. We're not
Yeah.
there yet. So this is helping me have that thought partnership in an HR and a coaching perspective to help me feel equipped. And I went into that conversation with this team member. I felt great. I felt aligned. I felt equipped. I felt validated. I felt like I had
Mhm.
a lot of care and empathy for them in what they must be feeling and going through to help down a path of figuring out next steps and where we go from here. Um, so yeah, that's my super long story about that with assessments.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was something that you could have done on your own, but this gave you the ability to do it more quickly and to give you some feedback on your thought process.
Right.
Yeah.
And to not feel like I'm only in my head about it and worrying like, is what I'm feeling like, am I making this up? Am I like
Right.
that time of the month and I'm like irritated? Like what's happening, to where I'm like feeling this way, but then I look back on it and I'm like it's that whole like trust your gut, trust your intuition. You said it earlier about like how is your body feeling? How are you
Mm.
experiencing this thing and listen to it. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% of how you make decisions, probably shouldn't be,
Right.
but having that awareness of also like again, if every time I met with this team member I was feeling drained of energy, that's an indicator too. Why should it
Yeah.
feel that hard? What is happening there? How can we uh, get on the same page? So I like ChatGPT for coaching, um, and for those reflective questions, like you said. I think
Mhm.
it's a great on demand, and I love building tools with it. I
Mm.
love it to be like my let's rock and roll. Like I got this idea for a tool or a workshop or something like let's build this sucker out. And
Yeah.
I feel like the golden rule can also apply or whatever that 80/20 like is so many different types of 80/20 rules. But like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, have it help you get to 80%, put your 20% voice, flair, spin, adjustment on it. When a team member is constantly providing you with nothing but things only from ChatGPT, where you're like, okay, you didn't even like reread this, or you didn't even like, you gotta like help have it help you get further along than you would, and you take it the rest of the way there.
Right. Yeah. And then we get to the point where we're exhausted from people just doing the work and continually sending their teammates these long chat GPT outputs of the work. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, but how are you synthesizing this for yourself and for the team to make this useful?
Mhm. Yep. I met with one of our visionaries recently, and I was asking him how he interacts with chat. He he loves and does the voice recording to talk to it. Like I'm always doing the typing
Yeah.
text. He's like all about the voice one. He's also, I think, in like a very high version of ChatGPT where it's like super expensive every month. But he's doing the voice one. He's having it also analyze his calls to give him feedback on how he's showing up, or his,
Mm-hmm.
like what he could do better, or what he could, or what he is doing really good at. Or to also capture process or thought process, or ideas or whatever. So he's having it like, again, we've all been like seeing these meeting things, recorders or whatever that are
Sure.
transcribing and all that for years. Like that's not new. Um, but I just thought it was interesting that he's taking the voice ones. Like it's the recording of the call, not the transcript of the text. And he's putting
Interesting.
that in and asking it to do analysis on certain things.
So can it analyze like tone and body language, or is it just using the words?
Supposedly tone.
Wow.
I don't know. That's a good question to look into, is like, is it assessing body language? Is
Mm-hmm.
it picking up on, like recently, we did like a master class together. Who was it? It was me and Jody, Jessica, maybe Jessica, Charlie, where we did a negotiation course. It was
Oh
like,
yeah. I remember y'all doing that one.
yeah, with like she was, oh, what was that girl's name? She was like a CIA, Secret Service, something,
Mm,
something, where it's like she's, doing interrogations and things like that. So it was a negotiation course. But it was all about like other people's body language and picking up, like, if I'm constantly doing this with my hair, or like if I'm telling a story and I like look up all the time, or I look down all the time, and that's how I think, the standards don't apply, of like, oh, well, if someone's looking away, you can't trust them, they're lying, like that
right.
blanketly doesn't work for everyone. That might be like, I can't keep eye contact with you and my brain can process, so I need to look away to form my thought and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how you interact with me normally, but then there's a moment where you start asking me something and my behavior completely changes, that's what you're looking for. Like you're looking for those things. So
Interesting.
I think these AI tools would have to be able to assess and pick up on like the trends of that. Should be able to, right?
I guess. Yeah, if not now, then in the future.
Then soon,
It's the
right?
Wild West.
Um, yeah, I feel like I use it for so many things, or I think of so many different things, and I'm always curious and asking people how they're interacting with it and
Mm-hmm.
how they're using it. And so I appreciate you sharing with me kind of your most recent one of like, okay, I'm using it here to be a thought partner and get unstuck with the procrastination things that
Yes,
you're putting off.
totally.
Maybe I need to try that. Be like, all right, I'm putting this off.
Well, I've thought about uploading my own assessments to see can it give me some thoughts and guidance as well, because I've had it analyze like my LinkedIn profile and some different things, but then you were talking about assessments, and I've thought about what if I upload my own assessments into a specific chat that I
Mhm.
used for that.
Well, and a cool thing too we could do to compare is like do that with yours because it knows you, maybe. Maybe we
Mhm.
grab the same prompt together of like, this is what we're going to feed it, and I'll feed it to mine and
Mm,
see what it tells me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if
yeah,
that would be interesting to see, not to compare and see if it's giving the same thing, but like mine doesn't know you the way yours
right,
knows you, but like I'm
right,
just asking it to do a surface level because we also make a big assumption that people agree with every part of their assessment result.
right, which is not true.
Not true.
Yeah. I mean, because the assessment is indicative of the mindset you were in when you completed it, right? And sometimes we're different than other times.
Yeah.
And I do think that while some assessments are very consistent time over time, there's some and some mindsets I've been in where I have gotten different results.
Yeah. I feel like it's got to be really close to impossible to like be in the exact same place in life, exact same headspace, mindset of things, your own, if you've been growing a lot, right? Like your self-perception or whatever, like all of those
Exactly.
things to me should change wildly. I mean, or maybe they don't. I don't know. I think
Maybe
some,
not wildly, but they absolutely can change, especially as we're doing different things, you know,
yeah.
growing in different ways, like you're talking about.
Like my self-awareness or my growth or my, even if I looked at like me 20 years ago, would definitely not be all the same results as it is now.
Right.
Underlying, it might still show I'm organized, I'm process oriented, like I value those things. I think that all still might be true.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I definitely think there's like what some underlying threads that constantly weave through.